Adam's been busy cutting off the old shock towers. He's tacked on the front drop hangers. These are required when you do the high steer to give the clearance of the arms. He's got the front leaves sitting in position. Now I'm a bit worried that this looks like it might be a touch soft. I think we're gonna have to put one of the load leaves back in the bottom of it. The rears are in position as well. I'm happy with the curve that we've got. These are an IFS rear, but the shackle angle doesn't look right. We need to be longer there. We'll head over to Bullet Truck Garage now and see what we can use to stiffen up that front pack. See what we've got here. So we've got some load leaves at the bottom of that pile. We've got some short ones there, but I think I'm going to need a long one. Let's see what we got here. We've got fronts, so there'll be no real load leaf in that. They're the parabolics off the 79. And again, some fronts, no load leaves. So we've got some main leaves here. I think what we're looking for is going to be right at the bottom. There's a couple here, look at this. I think that's what we're looking for. Yep. Also found these two, which are a flat load leaf, but they have the bracket which will keep it from moving left and right in the pack. So there's a third option too. It's a super long one, but the hole's not in the middle, so I'm assuming that's for an IFS. And then we've got these all the same thickness, it's around the 11 mil. So we'll get them all to the paint shop. So back in the paint shop and the three options. I think I'm going to go with this one. This looks like it's an LN106 rear load leaf. This looks like it's an IFS one to me, just purely where the hole is. It's a lot longer one way than the other, and I don't think that one's long enough, even though it does have the bracketry to keep the pack together. So what I'll do is I'll paint these two up. We'll paint the longer ones as well, because what I might be able to do when I'm putting it together in the morning, might be able to cut this at a particular length, because we do want a long load leaf, but we also don't want it too long. Looks like it's going to be a early run out to Adams in the morning. Sticking to the colour scheme. It's an early start for me this morning. Gonna head out to Adam's shop, see if I can organise these springs before the world wakes up. It's a chilly one too. I really can't wait for these restrictions to be lifted so we can live a normal life again. So this is how Adam and I have been exchanging parts. He'll leave them out for me to work on, and then I'll leave them back here for him to fit. Not ideal, but we're getting the jobs done. This will be my workbench for the next little bit. Here's the parcel that he's left out for us. So the front springs, which we're going to add a leaf to, he's left the box out, we don't need that anymore. And then the retail shaft, which I've got to try and sort out because it's butchered up there pretty badly. The shaft might actually still be alright. It's stopping at that point. Yeah, so we might have to look into it. Alright, put that to the side for now. The other issue we've got is, so those bushes that I have for the front of the IFS, this collar that come with the bush for that particular model isn't friendly with the pin that we've got on this model. That wall thickness of that collar is too thick. So it's the same outside diameter as the pin. So obviously this going into the bush, he's got play, he's worried about it getting flogged out. So we've got to try and find a collar with a thinner wall, or maybe Brian's gonna have to make something up here. The mission for this morning is to put another leaf in this. So that's the one that I'm thinking. It's long, but it's not too long. At the front here, that's the front, it's the fixed side, and this is the shackle end. Out of the two options I brought, I think I might use the shorter of the two. So there's my center pin there. That's a fair bit too long. I'd have to cut that back. This one from the center pin forward, it's about 20 mil shorter, but it's around the right length for what I'm thinking. So if I'm going to bolt that up like that, I reckon that's probably the perfect one out of the two. I wasn't sure if I'd had enough length on this center pin to add the extra leaf. So we brought some more, and I get them threaded quite far, but obviously I have to cut them to length once it's all together. So in case I don't have enough there, which I'm probably going to be short, that's 11mm thick, that leaf, we'll mock up another one. Take the center pin out. And this is the one that I'm proposing to use. I think that's fine. I don't think this center pin's going to be any good. Nah. It actually looks like a rear pack, doesn't it? With that load leaf in. Look, it's all just trial and error at the moment. We haven't run these before. We'll get there eventually. All right, we got one side complete. I'll cut that center bolt back and I'll give it a quick paint so it'll be dry for Adam when he gets to work this morning. These are now ready for him to fit when he gets here. Hopefully it all works. I guess it's a fine line between having a nice soft spring, one that's not too soft. So hopefully that load leaf helps out a little bit. Job done, almost home. I can climb back into bed. Shell and the kids won't even know I was gone. Adam's got the front springs in now, and I think that we'll be happy enough with it until we can get out and test it. That looks a lot better with that load leaf at the bottom. We might get away with not having to modify this too much. So with the RUFs up front, it's moved the diff forward. But I already had it forward in the perch. But remember when I fitted the high pinion, it made the flange to flange size smaller. Look at the ground clearance now with that high pinion front. That's with the 37s on the ground, probably around 20 PSI. Just gonna pull in and see an old mate of mine, Mark, out at Carroll's, and see if he can help us out with our bushes dilemma. Yeah, that was awesome. We had a win there at Mark's. We found a bush that is 18mm, same size as the pin. Goes in nice and tight. The only modification is that they're a little bit wider than what we need. So we've just got to trim one of the bushes back, but it's happy days. Took me a while to work out where the battery fits on this thing. What a punish. Paid to make up this third spring, this spare, or I wouldn't have been able to nut this out because obviously the springs are in Adam's shop. The bushes were out of a 75 series Land Cruiser. I actually had a few questions regarding what bushes I was using. So that's going to be a good tight fit. It's going to be good. I'm happy with that. Awesome. Alright, so another problem solved. A problem that I didn't realise would be a problem. Brian's turn this morning to get a visit from the disaster ferry. But first, while it's fresh on my mind, I just want to stop and have a look for that tail shaft spacer I've thought about. Yeah, there it is. I knew I'd seen it lately. It's on one of my spare shafts. Awesome. 25mm. So look, well, worst case, Brian can machine that down to 15, 16 if it becomes too thick. Because we've got 40 there now. We have to wait to get the back up. Then we can determine how thick to make it. Off to Brian's we go. Very important pickup off Brian. This is our 80 rear center with the 4, 5, 6 gears in it. And these are the 4-1 gears that we'll think about re-gearing later on when we twin transfer case it on the 40s. See how it feels. We've got our airline, as we need to now go black. So Bullet's got the blue line. Apparently black is the new blue. Yep, you guessed it. Off to the paint shop it is. Also too, the 4-1 gears are much stronger than the 4.5.6s. So Brian is worried with the 40s that, that this might be a weak link and the 4-1s are a much stronger setup. Paint shop's pretty busy here today, but no job more important than getting the orange on this big 80 series rear center. And what we might do is get a bit of paint on that spacer that we're going to run on the front of the front tail shaft. Okay, so the diff, 2 coats. This is a big center. I felt that Brian might have been a little bit sad this morning when we exchanged this diff, because I think he said this could be the last diff we build bullet truck now that you've got decent diffs. So the 80 series with the 456 gears, we're able to get a Hilux pinion back on it so we can bolt up that tail shaft as if it was a Hilux center. Now I had a couple of questions, paints, and in particular the orange. So it's a Dulux Duramax and it's in Bright Delight. So this all started, the craze of the orange started when I got a sponsorship from Maxxis 3-4 years ago. So that's 2 coats, it's quick drying. What we used on the tail shaft spacer is an epoxy enamel, that's still tacky, that's 1 coat. So I'll just walk you through those ones. A lot of questions I've had about the paints. So this is the rust guard, this is the epoxy enamel I've used on my cages, the diff housings. It's a white night product, you can get it in the liquid form. So I just brush it on if we've got an event or a show. Now the reds, we use the Dulux epoxy enamel and the Duramax. If I want a quick drying, I'll use the Duramax. It dries in 10 minutes. And it's what we've been using. All the orange on bullet truck is this. It's strong, it's durable. You get mud on it, the mud can dry on there for 3-4 days. You gurney it off, the paint stays. It's good stuff. So hopefully that answers the paint questions. Thanks for your time, Miss Millie.
You're welcome.
She's broken her other arm this time and wasn't on a motorbike, it was on roller skates.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time, sweetheart.
You're welcome.
That'll conclude this episode. Join us next time for more progress on Bullet Truck's build. We repair the tail shaft and we make up some super long front shocks off the back of my 79. Plus plenty more. Off to the paint shop we go. Bye for now, and as always, thanks for watching.